he ended up being a sergeant at the police academy. So we met through that event. He asked me, would you like to come and teach my recruit class? And I said yes. And he brought me in and he, showed me around. And he was telling me that he was leaving. He was like, I'm leaving here. So I want to make sure I get you involved. I'll pass your business card around and all the things. And he ended up telling me that he was leaving to become a firefighter, which I guess doesn't really happen. And so I tell these stories and a lot of people locally know him because it is an interesting story. And he still is now a firefighter, I believe, for the city of Gilbert. And that was kind of my intro. I'm sure you can attest to this, but 5 years ago, and even now, I think more yoga is becoming more accepted.
Yeah.
But 5 years ago, yoga was not a thing, for the majority. I know some states are a little bit more advanced. But when I walked into that environment, it was cops don't do yoga and, yoga will never be a part of our culture. But if you want to come and volunteer, we're happy to have you, and it was very they were very welcoming, very, kind. It wasn't like they were like, fuck you. They were like, but they're just the reality of it. It's just not the environment. It's not the culture. And I was like, okay, I'll take you up on that. And so I, volunteered for a while. And, eventually through building relationships with the police academy, I did become more of an integrated part of their programming. And I work with each recruit class a couple times during their training. And through that, I received an AZ post certification and, started developing the virtual part of it. So that was kind of like the intro, it's kind of luck. I say luck because it did end up being my life purpose. And I think, kind of just referring back to what you said before, I think that everyone wants to feel like they can relate to somebody. And, I think that my background, my trauma and all the things that I had gone through were things that I tried to hide for a really long time. There were things that I thought were shameful or embarrassing, and I thought, shove it down. Don't deal with it. Don't talk about it. Try to give this image of perfection. And I did that for a long time. I'm great. Everything's great. I've by, all standards, I looked like I was, this perfect yoga teacher. And I think that that's what I tried to be for a really long time. And then when I stepped into this world, I realized that the parts of me and my experiences that I thought were shameful or embarrassing were the things that became relatable and the things that were celebrated about me a little bit, because it was something that we're like, okay, we're in this together. I get it. I don't know what you guys go through on a day-to-day basis, and I'll never pretend like I do. What I can say is that yoga helped me, process these things, and it was a tool for me, and it changed my life, and I think it can help you too. And so it became this thing where it was we were all in it together, and, healing and, taking those proactive measures, and sometimes even reactive measures to, process things and to live healthier, happier lives. And so, it became my life's purpose, but it wasn't something that I was aiming for. And I think that, a lot of times people, especially yoga teachers, they try to, find their niche and be really unique, and they kind of target a certain audience. And for me, it happened organically, and, I'm forever grateful for, that one person who really did cheerlead me. And he, advocated for me 5 years ago when it wasn't a thing. And so, now what I'm doing has all been based off of that organic, relationship building.
Yeah. It's, that's really the key to getting in the door. I found with a lot of first responder places is you got to have a champion for your cause. And until you get that, it doesn't matter how much advertising, whatever it is you're throwing at us, until you get, I'll say the cop world, until you get another cop vouching for you and making that introduction, it's really hard to get in the door. And So you get thrown into this, and day one, what was your initial goal for the recruits versus the way you structure teaching first responders now? Because what I want people to kind of start understanding is, okay, if I do want to entertain this idea of having yoga come here to first responders, what can I expect?
Yeah. So, I mean, kind of what we talked about before, my goal in the beginning of me teaching for first responders or for the recruits is so different than now. I think that it's really imperative to introduce tools at an academy level. Just going back to what we talked about before, those proactive measures, how can we give them the tools for longevity? So that's the goal now. Excuse me. And it's physical longevity. We know that this line of work has a wear and tear on your body. All of the gear that you wear,